Hi and welcome back to my YouTube channel.
What a wonderful.
So in this video I'll talk about the worst 5 reads of 2024. As you could tell from the thumbnail, these were the books I did not like, but I'll go in detail about each of them and why I didn't like them one by one. There are a few things I want to just as a disclaimer put out there, that I am a hater to my core. I love hating on things, so just don't take it too personally. If you like this book, that's fine. These are just my opinions and how I feel about these books.
I am going to remind you in advance that I am very sorry and I apologize for the inconvenience of me not giving a fuck what you think.
We'll get into the video now. So the first book that I want to talk about is Exile by Monty J. I should tell you, I loved the Hollow Boy series. At least I loved Rook Sage. They are one of my favorite couples. Even though I did not like the other couples as much, I still really enjoyed the series. So I was very excited for this book because Fee was Rook Sage's daughter, and I was just excited. But this book was a hot mess. The plot line, the characters, and everything else, the bad writing, it was just a hot mess. And I'm going to tell you why I think that. We'll go point by point and why I have these opinions. There were too many things that were done wrong in this book. First and foremost, I don't think there was any love between the characters. If you asked me to pinpoint where they fell in love or what made them fall in love or what was there about their what was it about their relationship that I liked, I couldn't pinpoint one thing because I liked nothing. I felt no love between them, I felt no chemistry between them, I felt no comfort between them. For me, it was just a simple waste of time. It was mindless because he was rude to her the entire time, he was mean to her the entire time, and she kind of liked it for some reason, which is fine. I get it, I get that. But then there was no real actual conversations that they had, except when they were sort of fucking, and that was very, very weird to me. And the entire plotline in general was just a mess to me. The characterization of these two characters was so poorly done. Half the things that Fee was doing was not making sense to me. Why she was thinking certain things, why she was taking certain decisions, it was just beyond my understanding. And I don't have to fully understand a character to like them, but there was nothing likable about them, and I usually really like unlikable characters. But it was just nothing that was interesting also about her in general that was keeping me interested in the book. So one of the reasons I didn't like it was Fee was constantly mentioning how she was okay, she was a lively person before she was assaulted, but then it changed, rightfully so, agreed. But then I don't know why this entire plot of her being adopted was embedded in that. I don't know why it was there. I don't know what it served to the plot or the story. It did nothing. She was okay, she was friendly with everybody, she was close to her family, then she was assaulted, and suddenly she's feeling her adoption's reason she feels othered, and she doesn't fit with Vanderens because she was adopted, when that's not the reason. And that adding that plot line made me dislike the book a little more because it just didn't make sense to me. There was no reason for her to feel that way. The Vanderens never made her feel different and never not supported her. Her siblings are really nice to her and they want to be supportive and they want to talk to her, but she's a little closed off, which is fine, completely understandable. But just like the adoption plotline with the assault did not make sense, because yes, you change after an assault, something, harassment, something like that, but the adoption is not the reason for how you've changed and why you feel othered. You were feeling alright before. It just didn't add to the story, it only made it confusing. And then at the same time she was saying that the Hollow Boys do not share an ounce of blood, but they are so good together and they are so connected. But then she's also saying that I don't feel connected, but I did feel connected before the harassment, and I just don't understand why it didn't make sense to me. It was just badly done. I don't know why the adoption plotline was added. It did not add anything to the story. Absolutely nothing. It only made it a mess. Now, the main issue I have with the story is Fee being attracted to Jude, which is weird to me because she thinks and believes, she fully believes that him and his best friend were the reason she went through so much pain. So Fee fully believes that Jude aided and abetted her rapist, right? So why would you find him attractive? I just don't understand this entire trope of, oh, he's like a bad guy, he's a loser, I hate him, but my body can't say no to it, my body wants it. I think it's just overdone. I think it's a little too disrespectful how it was like done in this book. I'm all for feeling attraction, but let me just like paint that scenario for you. You've been essayed, okay, and you've been struggling with that, and you've obviously, as you would, rapist best friend is somebody you believe aided and abetted the rapist, said rapist, right? So when you fully believe that, would you be attracted to him even if he is very attractive physically? Would you like him if you think he helped your rapist? Would you like him? And this entire thing that, oh, she just found him physically attractive and she just, couldn't control herself. No, I just don't fuck with that. I don't fuck with that trope. I don't like that trope. That was, I think, one of my main issues with this book, that this was just not for me. I can't handle that. I'm okay with misunderstandings, but Fee fully believed it, that he aided and abetted whatever the guy's name was. I forgot his name. And I just can't be okay with that. I can't be okay with that. Just not something I like. I understand having your own coping mechanisms and dealing things your own way, but Lord forgive me for asking questions. Why are you attracted to the guy who helped your rapist, or who you believe helped your rapist? Like, it's just not acceptable to me. And it was one of the things that turned me off about the book, because yeah, I was really excited about the book and I love Rook Sage, so their daughter is very important to me, but it was just badly done. Like, it gives me the ick to think about it, because why would that be the trope? Why would you make her believe that? Fully believe it, not even like doubt. She doubts this. She fully believes. She framed him for something because she fully believes he was aiding and abetting the rapist. Like, it's just so bad. Also, in continuation to that, I feel like Fee's personality is not for me. I think I find a little obnoxious with her Sheldon Cooper sort of humor, where science is everything, science said this, science said that, and it's just a little too obnoxious for me. Like, Andy, I think, believed in astrology or something, and she said, I don't believe in astrology, that's just, that's not science. And that's such a dude bro thing to say, and that's like, yeah, like, it's just icky to me. If you don't believe in it, that's completely fine. You don't have to say it's not true, or like, it was just obnoxious to me. I didn't like it. That's basically it. There's nothing personal, I feel, but I just didn't like that obnoxiousness, that, oh my god, I only believe in science, I'm a student of science, I can't really deal with anything else. So that kind of humor does not work for me. Next, like I said before, I don't think he did anything for Fee. Jude did anything for Fee, and it was just so forced. The love and any attraction also was feeling so forced, because I wouldn't be attracted to that, and that's why it felt forced to me, their attraction, because it didn't feel natural, it didn't feel smooth, it just volatile, I would say, and not in a good way. But it was just bad, and I don't think Jude did anything for Fee except treat her terribly. He would say shit, he would treat her terribly, he would call her names, and like, the only time they would have a half decent conversation is when they're fucking, and like, she would basically not even think about, like, how some people just blabber, like, they don't realize what they're saying and they just blabber about things. That's what Fee was doing. She's so conscious about not saying something in front of her parents and like people around her, but she was blabbering to a complete stranger who she believes aided and abetted her rapist. So that made no sense to me, that you would just blabbering things about your life and doing these saying these things. And yeah, I mean, that was kind of like her opening up, was like blabbering, and he didn't comfort her. He did not comfort her. He was just listening. So I feel like a therapist would help her a lot, but he did not comfort her. Not once did he comfort her. Rather, he would say a lot of shit to her, make her feel like shit, and attack her also a lot of times. So I don't know when they fell in love, how it happened, nothing. It doesn't make sense to me. Also, coming to Ruth's personality, not a likable character, whiny guy who blames everything on his trauma is not for me. Like, I understand trauma, trust me, I do. I do. But, and blaming everything on people you don't know is not fair. It's not a good look. Everybody takes time to heal, everybody has their own way of feeling, but you're not a understanding kind guy if you want to blame Sage for all the abuse your dad put you through, even though Sage was a victim herself. I don't know what Monty was thinking writing this in a book, but yeah, it was just not a nice look on him. And I'm very protective of Sage, so I couldn't look past the fact that he was not understanding. He held a grudge for no reason, apparently, because she did not do anything to him directly. She did nothing to him. How people treated him is not her fault. It's not her fault. It's his father's fault. So, and it was his father, Jude's father, abusing him. It was never Sage. See, all the anger directed towards Sage is unfair. And it's not like he's a 10-year-old dude who does not understand emotions. He's a 17-year-old guy. Some emotional maturity, some emotional intelligence was like, nothing was there. He was not emotionally intelligent. He was not kind. He was just volatile. He was just whiny. He was just attacking people left, right, and center because he couldn't deal with things himself. And I don't blame him for all the trauma, but how you choose to react or how you choose to do things is on you. It's not on anybody else. I truly believe that it was such a bad characterization of him, and it was just bad how his entire character turned out to be. It was just not for me. Lastly, I feel like we need to mention the horrendous poetry in the book. It was just so bad. I feel like we deserve some compensation for reading that. There was no need for it. The poetry added nothing to the plot line. It added nothing to the personality either. And adding 4 or 5 big words and like googling what's the synonym of this would not make poetry. It doesn't have a theme. It doesn't have a story. It doesn't have a rhythm. It doesn't have anything. It was nothing. It was so bad that I really wanted to pluck my eyes out. It was that bad. Like, I was reading it, it made me hate the guy more. Like, being whiny is still fine. But writing bad poetry and thinking it's good, it's just not for me. And I just wasted my time reading this book. But all in all, these were like my main reasons why I didn't like them. But don't come at me for having these opinions. But that's all I had for this book. I am hoping that Andy and Ezra's book would be nicer, because I felt more of their chemistry in Fee and Jude's book. But yeah, I'm very excited for their book. But if that one is a fuck up, I'm not gonna read another Monty J. But yeah, that's about it. Next we have Nothing Like the Movies by Lynn Painter, and what a hot mess. Oh my god, what a hot mess. Yeah, I will insert my Goodreads review. It's a short one, so you can read it. I think it's quite funny also. But it was such a mess. This book should not have existed. That's all I want to say. It should not have existed. There was no need for this book. We loved Liz and Wes, and this book ruined it for me. This book completely ruined it for me. First off, the personality of the characters that we loved was changed completely. I liked Wes because he was not pushy, he was patient, and he never forced Liz to do anything. He actually waited all his life to date Liz. He was in love with her since I don't know how many years, but he waited. He never forced her. Not with Michael as well. So in this book, he was so pushy, it turned me off. He was so pushy. He was so pushy. He did not give her space, time, anything to figure things out. He was just pushy, and I hate that in a guy. Then for Liz, I loved her because she was so unapologetically herself. Like, she loved love. She wore what she wore. She was confident about things she did. And she liked those things about herself, right? And I liked that about her. She was such a rom-com girly. Like, she loved love. And in this book, she's like, I hate love. I don't believe in love. And that's just not Liz. And I can understand a breakup can change you, but please, like, it was just not her entire book. I felt like I was reading about some other character and not Liz. So that's what bothered me the most, that these characters were not the characters I read in, but in the movies. Yeah, so it was just badly done. Also, it was quite icky to me, the mentions of pop artists every second page. How many times can you mention Gracie Abrams, Taylor Swift, Harry Styles, Conan Gray, or I don't know how many artists they were there? But why? It's so corny, it's so weird. It's once or twice, it's fine. It's fine once or twice. But the entire book, it was so weird. It was recurring in like every chapter, and it just gave me the ick, to be honest. I do not want to see pop culture references in my book. That's all. Once or twice, it's fine. The entire book was holding up on that. Oh my god, this Gracie Abrams song reminds me of Liz. Oh my god, this thing I went through right now, this scene that played, I just reminds me of Harry Styles. Stop it. Let readers figure that out for themselves. Like, it doesn't make Wes cooler. It doesn't make Liz more relatable. It just makes the book icky. Stop it. Stop it. In general, this book was bland. The storyline was bland. The breakup reason was bad. It didn't make sense. It didn't feel like Wes again, how he reacted to things and how things turned out. Like, the stupidest reason you can find, that was the reason for their breakup. Stupidest. I was so excited for this book because I really loved the first book, but this was such a hot mess. I would never tell anybody to read this book. Don't read this book. Don't waste your time. So the next book we're going to talk about is A Study in Drowning by Reid. And I've heard good things about her other book, and I tried this one because I loved the cover and I found it in a bookstore. But I just wasted my money buying that book and wasted my time reading this book because it was such a hot mess. Now, I want to give a disclaimer that the writing wasn't bad. It was just the plot execution that was just so poorly done that it made the story absolutely nonsensical for me. So yeah, the writing was fairly decent, I would say. So I just want to understand, what is Lyre and Argent? Are they clans? Are they countries? Are they religions? Are they communities? What is it? What are they? What are they? When you're writing a fantasy book, world building is really important. You can't just like drop names and expect readers to know these things. Even if you've mentioned them in your other books, this is not something, this was sold as a standalone. So I need some background on these names, Argent or Lyra. I hope I'm pronouncing them correctly, but I need some context, and I wasn't given that context. And by the end of the book, I did not know what these two names meant, or what these two clans, or what. I just don't understand what they were. I'm just calling them clans, but I don't know what they were. Also, I feel like the story and the plot line was oversimplified for no reason. Spoilers by the way, we hear about some fairy king and like he's been taking women for years and blah blah blah, he's so dangerous, blah blah blah, and then he's killed by looking in a mirror. He's killed by looking in a mirror, not even a special kind of mirror, just any mirror would do, and nobody's been able to kill him. Stupid. Like, it's so oversimplified. And where did they find the letters? Under the bed. Nobody could find the letters for years and nobody could figure it out. Only these two teenagers, college going kids could. It was so oversimplified that it made it so boring and made it even like nonsensical to me, honestly. It was just so boring. Like, I was bored. I was like, what the fuck? Like, it just happened? Just like that. It was all ended. Just like that. There was nothing interesting about it. Nothing. The next issue I have with this book is how Effie's trauma was handled. I feel like she was giving so much trauma, and none of these traumas or like these plot lines were explored enough. Grooming, sexual assault, and all of these things, and none of these things were talked about again. It was just mentioned that she is traumatized and like she went through these things, and they were never worked on again. I feel like, so I feel that's like one of my icks in like reading anyway, that if you give a certain trauma to a character, I'm not saying you like resolve it, because that's not possible in like a book, but like show us how it affects her life and how deeply it affects, like just talk about it a little bit, not much, but just like show us what are the effects of this trauma, because it's not something small, it's something big. So you just have to like, don't just mention it and get, okay, I've mentioned trauma, that's done, now let's move on. That doesn't work with me. You have to talk about it a little bit. You have to show the consequences. You have to show how people deal with things, or how it was just not there. It was just like, okay, Effie has this trauma, this trauma, this trauma, this trauma, and nothing was ever built on. So yeah, that was not it for me. That was not a good look. But honestly, the writing was fine. I don't have a problem with that. The only problem is the oversimplified plot and how it made it boring, and the characters were not that interesting, and Effie's trauma. Those were like the main things I didn't like about this book. I'm sure a lot of people still would like this book, but it just wasn't for me. Next we have Leather and Lark, which is the second book after Butcher and Blackbird. I forgot the series name, but that's the second book, and I loved Lark in Butcher and Blackbird. So it was quite shocking to me that I hated her book. Like, I absolutely hated it, because okay, actually I didn't hate it as much, because it did work like melatonin for me, better than melatonin to be honest, but it was just that bad, guys. Like, it was so boring, it was so senseless, it just didn't make any sense to me. Lark had more personality in Sloane's book than she did in hers. Grumpy X Sunshine is so overdone that I am bored. Give her something else than just a sunshine personality. Sunshine personality who kills men. It didn't work for me, guys. It didn't work for me. Marriage of Convenience, where the marriage was not necessary, it didn't add anything to the plot. It was just there because they wanted to add marriage of convenience to the plot. I feel like we've reached a point in these like these book talk famous books that where authors create a story around the tropes and not the other way around, basically. So it's just so weird how this marriage of convenience did not serve anything in the plot. It wasn't necessary, it wasn't important, it was just boring and bland, and I forgot the guy's name. It was that boring. Let's call him Leather. But Leather was very, very boring. Grumpy guy who has no other personality than being grumpy and being like, my wife, my wife, my wife. Stop it. It's boring. It's overdone. Find something new. Find something interesting to write. But basically that's it. Like, it was boring. It was bland. There's nothing interesting. I was falling asleep while reading it. I'm falling asleep while talking about it. So it was just bad. I hope the next book is not like this, because I'm really excited for the next book. Lastly, we have the hot topic, which is the Syndicator, and I'm gonna get a little more comfortable because my back's hurting, and this one's a long one. I have a list here that does not end, but my Goodreads review on this is longer. I think that's one of the longest review I've ever written, because I was just that mad, and I just went off, and and that was all constructive criticism with every single thing I found wrong in the book. So if you want to go in detail, read about it in detail, you can go to my Goodreads and read that. But yeah, we'll talk. I might read something off of the phone as well, because I didn't memorize all the points, but yes, just in case. So starting off with the bad writing, lack of editing, and simply plot holes. So many plot holes. It was just bad. Oh my god, the writing was bad, the editing was bad. If you're copy pasting from your old fix, then edit it properly. Pay somebody to edit it. Now let's get into the book and how I felt about the book, chapter wise. So starting off, we see Dane in the first chapter. It's his POV, and I'm just like, that's not him. In, let's say, so he talks about how he's in love with Luna and how he feels love. It must be love, right? Like, it has to be love. What else can it be? So that was kind of like the vibe of the first chapter in the Syndicator. But I remember reading Annihilator, and I remember it constantly being mentioned that he does not feel anything. He does not feel emotions like a normal person. So he does not know what love is. He knows what he feels for Luna is somewhat akin to like obsession, because she is very expressive as a person and he finds that fascinating. So it's more like an obsession than love, and he's never uttered the word love in Annihilator, even though she did. He was just like, yeah, like, it's not love. I don't feel these things. I don't feel things like a normal person would, because he's a sociopath, I'm assuming. I remember it was a sociopath. Yeah, sociopath, I think. I'll see that, but if not, I'll add it here. Whatever that is why I found his character a little more interesting than the rest, because he was not like a typical character who's just falls in love with the girl and blah blah. He was not in love with her. He was fascinated by her. He was obsessed with her. So it was more psychologically fun for me to read that. But then Syndicator first chapter, he's like, oh my god, I'm in love with her. I've loved her. It must be love. It just ruined it from the very start for me. From the very start, it ruined it for me, because I was not happy about that. Like, the personality taking like a 180-degree turn, and then it just being like a different person. It felt like I'm reading about a different person. So it was not true to the character that she had written, the author had written in Annihilator. Also, continuing, we're constantly told in Annihilator that he does not feel things like normal person would, right? We were told that, and now in this one, he's feeling bad for Morana, he's feeling bad for Zephyr, he's feeling bad for Amara. Why is he feeling bad? He does not have any empathy. We've been told many times he does not understand why these people would feel bad, because he has no empathy. He does not understand empathy. But like, that ruins the character for me, right? You understand what I mean? When I've been told this guy is like interesting that way, like he does not feel anything, it's like an interesting dynamic with Luna and Dane. But that gets ruined for me in the book. Very first chapter. So imagine how I would like that book. Next, like, the writing wise, let's talk about the writing. So can somebody tell me why would Dante mention that Shadowman led him to Xander? Because he did not. What Shadowman did was, Shadowman led them to the boys, right? And one of the boys was Xander, and they could not find Xander's family anywhere, so they adopted him. So logically, Dante does not know that Shadowman and Xander know each other, right? So why would Dante think that Shadowman led them to Xander when Xander is not the only boy they found? So what Shadowman did was, he led them to the boys, where they found a boy called Xander who had no family, so that's why the family adopted him. They have no clue how Xander and Shadowman are related, and they don't suspect it, at least not till now. So why would Dante say that, and why would Morana say that? So it's just, you see what I'm talking about, like the bad writing here, it's just not done properly. Next, the smut in the book. Oh my god, don't get me started. First of all, let's start by Luna and Dane. They don't have a single conversation where they're not fucking, which is so weird. When she victim of so much trauma, is saying, I feel empty inside, he said, and he's like inside her and says, do you feel whole? Do you feel something whole or something? Like, now I might add the quote here, but like, oh my god, that's so icky. When I think about it, I feel like puking. It was just so bad and icky. Why would you write that? Are you okay? There's nothing about their relationship that's beyond fucking, I feel. And at least that's what I feel like. The smut was badly written. It was overdone and added nothing to the plot also. Like, say for example, we had 4 chapters of just smut which add nothing to the plot. It was nothing to the plot, absolutely nothing to the plot, and it was out of nowhere. There was no tension, there was no progression, there was no build up. It was just out of nowhere, one after the other, like just them fucking, and it was so weird. Why would you do like so lazy? It's just lazy writing, adding smut for the sake of adding smut. It was just weirdly done. It was badly written. Editing problems we all saw. It didn't do nothing for me. Like it didn't do anything for me. I'm so sorry, but it was bad. Now, and let's not even get started with Tristan and Morana's mistreatment, their relationship being sidelined completely. You're telling me Morana's in pain and Tristan does not notice, and if he does not say anything. That's not Tristan. Their relationship must have evolved, but it does not evolve to a point, or I can't believe it has evolved to a point where he would just not say anything when he sees her in pain, because he wants her to say that to him, like tell him. That's not Tristan Kane. Did not read the books. And Morana talked more about Dane, Shadow Man, than she talked about Tristan. She said things like, "Oh my God, Dane is so attractive," and she did not say that once about Tristan in the entire book. It was so weird. She's not a fangirl. She's not a Dane fangirl. Let me tell you that she's not a Dane fangirl. And the way you're trying to make her one, she's not one. She's not one. Also, the X fucking plane, which okay, hear me out. Can you X fucking plane to me? Like, who says that? X fucking plane. Try saying that X fucking plane 10 times and see how stupid you look. Do you realize how stupid Tristan looked saying that? Then just the way he reacted to the entire situation, and then him saying thank you for that when Dane was saying something stupid, absolutely ridiculous to him. That's not Tristan Kane. Do you know Tristan Kane? I know him. I know him better than you do. And you can't argue with me about that, because I know him better than you do. I know him more deeply, on a more intellectual level than you do. And he's not even my favorite. Dante is my favorite. So weird. Just weird. Next thing I didn't like about this book was there was no plot progression for 40% of the book. There was nothing happening. I can't remember it because it didn't happen. Nothing happened in the 40% of the book. And it was just so like, why do people not plot books before they write it? Like, it just felt like somebody just wrote it. One day decided, okay, I'll write this story, and then posted it on Wattpad and didn't think twice. That is how this book felt, to be honest. Even like, I can't even say AO3 because AO3 writers are very talented. This one was bad. Wattpad is all I can give it to, and I would say a lot of Wattpad writers are better than this. Next, let's talk about Luna and Xander. The entire point of Luna being alive, or her staying alive, is Xander. She wanted to stay alive for her son, but they did not have a single conversation in the book, and then they did not end up together, and she just never even tried to talk to him. We didn't get one nice Luna Xander scene in the entire book. The entire plot line was around Xander and Luna and them reuniting, but it didn't happen. Did not happen. For what reason? God knows, because I don't. It didn't happen. Icky. The entire time it's just Luna thinking about Dane. It was like Dane, and it's just that's after some point you get tired of the Dane also, right? Okay, bro, what is happening? Do you not have anything else to do in your life? You're just talking about this one guy, blah blah, Dane, blah blah, Dane. Do you see how tired I am of just saying that word? Do you get irritated when I say this again and again? Now imagine how readers must have felt. That's how I felt. Like reading about him constantly when there's no other plot line going on. There's nothing that's being added to the story. Useless. Time waste. We never saw Luna talk about her trauma. We never saw her heal her trauma. We only saw her talk about Dane. And I'm tired. I'm done with it. Next. Xander acting like an adult. He's a 6-year-old guy. 6. SIX 6. So, tell me why. I'm not saying you can't be intelligent. You can be highly intelligent. But when you say you're highly intelligent, does not mean a 6-year guy can compete with a mafia king when it comes to intelligence. A mafia king, Dante Morani. So Dante couldn't figure out the code, but somehow the 6-year-old guy did, and the way he talks is a little too adultish for me to like. Children, even if you're highly intelligent, you don't talk like adults. And I spoke about this with psychologists, so I know this. That even if you're 6 and you're highly intelligent, you don't talk like adults. Xander was talking like an adult, and that was not okay. Like, it was just bad. no character for him either, no plot progression. There's nothing that Xander added to the story. Nothing. He was just there. Everybody was just there. Nothing really happened in the entire book. Nothing happened. Lastly, let's talk about the anticlimactic end of this book, which was Syndicator ending in less than 2 pages, one paragraph, I would say. 6 books we've built up till this point, where Syndicator is like so bad. Every book is about Syndicator, 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 somebody Syndicator, somebody Syndicator, somebody Syndicator, and then last book is just like nothing. And then 2 pages ended, complete, khatam, kuch problem hi nahi hai. How do you build something up for 6 books and then say it was nothing? Didn't really take much to do that. So why build that up for 6 books? Why put everybody through, like, if everything was done in the background, let the last 6 books be in the background as well, right? Why add this to the story in general? Just why do that when you build something up for 6 books and then say, nah, it wasn't that much. It was just 2 pages all it required to end the Syndicator, the entire syndicate. Also, the entire point of I'm gonna you can't end the syndicate, you have to handle it. What is he gonna do? Ethically traffic children? That the entire organization is trafficking children and sex workers. So what is he gonna do? Do it ethically? The point of it all, what is it? What is the point of it all? Can somebody explain me the point of this book? And the plot holes, oh, don't even get me started with the plot holes. Somebody was somebody's blood relation, somebody was not somebody's blood. But basically, that's about this book, and I didn't really like it. I feel like a lot of people feel the same way. But if you like Syndicator, sorry. Whatever, I guess. But this is all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you didn't mind me being a hater, even though I loved it. But you don't have to waste time reading these books, and if you do, RIP. But whatever. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.